Sept. Corey wants to see you right here. Robby, put you here. Jeff, we'll go right next to Robby.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of both RWR Racing and Spire Motorsports, I want to thank you for your time today, and also welcome everyone who's listening on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. We have some news today, and with us to talk about all that is Robby Benton, president of RWR Racing, Jeff Dickerson, the co-owner of Spire Motorsports, and NASCAR Cup Series drivers Corey Lajoie and Justin Haley. And we're going to take a page from our baseball counterparts. We've got some hot stove news here. So, Robby, tell us a little bit about why we're here today and kind of what's going on between these two organizations.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Well, I think probably as you can see, we could probably just stand here and let you take a photo and see who gets the lucky guess who gets a free lunch. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. Shortly after the Olympic break started, Justin came to us with a pretty unique opportunity for himself that put him in a position, I think, long-term for his career that was pretty attractive for him. And I think through the course of talking it through with him, and obviously we have a close relationship with the guys at Spire and Jeff, we came to the realization that it was probably best to let Justin out of his next year of our contract and make a change. In doing so, we felt like that it was probably best to take the opportunity and make that change now. So Bristol will be the final race for each of these guys in their respective rides. And starting at Kansas next week, we'll do an old-fashioned player trade. So Corey will become the driver of the 51, and Justin will go back to a previous home with Spire in the 7.
And Jeff, this does make somewhat of a homecoming for you and Justin. Talk a little bit about that from your side of the fence.
Yeah, well, I think all you guys have, I think we're kind of like the test tube, baby for a NASCAR team. So you guys have all kind of like watched us grow up, and I think the two guys that have built this place are Corey and Justin, right? Justin was there. We've always been huge fans of Justin. I think you guys have seen him, his talent shine through in the Xfinity stuff, and now he's proven it every week in the Cup Garage. And look, this is we're super excited to have Justin join us for the future, and really happy that we could work closely with our partners at RWR to make this happen.
And Corey, Justin, Bass Pro Shops Night Race will represent your last race with your current organizations, and then both of you have 7 races to really learn one another and your teams and figure out things for next year. So, Justin, I'll tee it up for you. What are you looking forward not only to this weekend at Bristol, but Kansas and those 6 races after Kansas?
Yeah, obviously, I'd like to start off and thank Rick and Robby for everything they've done for my career, obviously. It's been a good year. We've had a lot of good runs, and I appreciate the speed and effort and everything they've done for me this year to this point. And hopefully we can cap it off with a good run this weekend for them. So, I'm looking forward to the race. We had an awesome car here in the spring. I think we finished top 20, top 15, somewhere around there. So, super excited for that. But Monday's a new page for me, kind of back to where I started my first Cup Series career races at. Spent a lot of time there while I was racing Xfinity, doing both. So, when Jeff Dickerson called me with this opportunity, presented it, I knew it was something that gave me a little bit more long-term stability and a good path for the future. So, I'm excited for this weekend to finish strong with what we've built at RWR, and then hop over to something new next week.
And Corey, the same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind for me the last couple months, just, the news before the break and, praying in my life for closing doors and opening doors. It's not coincidence that this is such a unique thing my entire career has been pretty unique, and my trajectory to get to the Cup Series has been kind of unique. But I'm excited for the challenge. My entire career's been a challenge, and Jeff and TJ and everybody from Spire, we've had a lot of nostalgia reminiscence this week of just catching up and, you know, crying and hugging and doing all the things. But there are now hundreds, but, you know, there was a core group of about 30 guys at Spire that were there, that were the OGs, and Justin was a part of that. And it's cool that those guys continue to grow and to learn. They've had a great year. You know, I wish the summer months would have been better for us, but, you know, for me, just you know, it was a tough little stretch of a lot of self-imposed wounds that you know, I tripped myself up. But nonetheless, we've had a great little stretch the last couple months, and tomorrow night's not going to be any different. I think we're going to go execute the last race with Sparks and Roy and Adam. I'll just go ahead and name them all: Ira, Brandon Cavich, Chad, like all the entire 7 team. Like those, it's a band of brothers, because you are forged just in the trenches of Sunday race, and those guys at Spire have provided for me an incredible platform, and I'm excited for just some clarity of what my future might look like to finish the rest of the year with Robby and Rick and the entire group over there. It's going to be it's unprecedented. It's going to be interesting to just change over seats, but at the end of the day, I can't see what the number on the side of the car is. So I'm gonna drive that thing just like I stole it each and every week, and try to keep the wheels pointed in the same direction, and see where it all shakes out from there. But it's been pretty crazy couple weeks. This week in particular has been pretty wild.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. We'll start over here with Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic, for both teams, if you will. You guys talk about the future. So, Justin, will Justin be in the 7 car next year? And then on the other side, will Corey be with Rick Ware racing next year?
You want to go first, Jeff?
Justin will be with us in 2025.
Yeah, so Jordan, this is, you may be able to kind of read between the lines here that it's very unscripted for us at this point. This kind of came together over the last, 36 hours or so?
Yeah.
So we know we need to get started next week. We felt it prudent to sit in front of you and sit here and tell you what it is and what it isn't. It's unique, it's unconventional. You know, driver swaps, player trades, whatever you may characterize it as, they're very different, you know, for what we do. But what it did do is, you know, it's important that I tell you that this is all amicable. You know, we're all still friends. You know, we think the world of Justin. He's helped us tremendously this year build RWR into what it is, and to make it attractive enough for somebody like Corey to want to come here and give it a shot. So what we're trying to do is take advantage of an opportunity that I think helps everyone. And for us, it gives us the last part of the season to evaluate how well we work together. I think we would be foolish not to lean into the opportunity to work with somebody like Corey. But we need to make sure that we can do what we need to do together, right? And that's the unique opportunity that we can take in these last 7 races.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. For Justin, what would be the impetus for you to go to Spire? There's a lot of speculation that their relationship with Hendrick played a role.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that, you know, Spire and HMS have a strong relationship. I think everyone in here knows that, but Jeff Dickerson called me and presented me an opportunity to drive the 7 car for him, and it's a homecoming for me to be able to, get back with Jeff and everyone at Spire Motorsports, where I started my career, and you know, race as hard as I do every weekend. So I'm super thankful that Jeff Dickerson made the call to you know, want me to drive his race cars again, and everyone at Spire for giving me the opportunity. So, we're going to go out there and do the best we can. Obviously, that's the goal, and see where it takes us in the future.
Trenton Worsham with FrenchStretch.com. This may be a 2-part question. It's very rare we see something like this happen, especially with like 2 different manufacturers. So what was the behind the scenes with between Chevy and Ford doing this? And when Justin Haley came over to Rick Ware, he was supposed to help build the team, which he has. He's had some great runs this year with some top 10s. What brought about this change so suddenly?
Well, I think that, I'll speak from our side. When Justin kind of explained what the opportunity was for him, and the respect that we have for him and what his future may be, we just felt like it was the right thing. Sometimes we just do things because it feels right, and we don't necessarily need to explain it to anyone or even ourselves. We do it because it just feels like the right thing to do. And if we weren't sitting in a position right now where Corey was available to step in and help fill that void for the rest of this season, then we might not be doing this, right? We might not have been, as accommodating. But as I said earlier, Justin has been a tremendous part of doing just what you said, which is helping us build RWR into what it is now. So we owe him a lot. We're very grateful for what he's helped us do, and we're respectful of what he's trying to do for his own future. And again, it just felt right.
Regarding the manufacturers working together, how did that go behind the scenes?
Look, I think they do the same thing, right? There are certain things that they come and they go, right? Justin has been a huge asset, not only for us but for Ford this year. I think they all understand. We work very closely with our manufacturer partners, but this is something where I feel like that uniquely and very uncommonly, everybody's winning here.
Jacob Zillman, Race Face Digital. Jeff, I'm thinking I'm putting the puzzle pieces together here. You guys announced when you signed Carson a multi-year deal for him in the 77. You've got Michael coming over to the 71, as you guys announced. So would the plan then be for Justin to stay in the 7 next year, at least at this point?
Yeah. I hope so.
Me too.
He moves around a little, if you haven't noticed.
I mean, it has been a strange week, but not that strange, I don't think.
I would more of making sure there weren't any kind of twist arounds from what's been announced. Justin, then for you, I know you're excited to kind of come back home to Spire, but what are you excited about as far as getting to work with Rodney for the first time next year and what he brings to the table?
Yeah, obviously, great opportunity not only being in the doors of Spire, but to work with a championship-winning crew chief like Ronnie Childers. And, the group he's going to build around us, obviously, I think that's a big step for my career. It was definitely one of the attractive factors when, Jeff reached out to me. So, obviously the last 7 here is going to be with Sparks and all those guys, but definitely over the off season, excited to build with Rodney, see what he brings. Hopefully I can bring a little fire back into him as a young spirit and, see where we unfold.
So Scotty Sprinkle with Race Face Digital, and my questions to both Corey and Justin. You've both been very integral to growing both of your respective teams you're with right now. Corey, of course, the last several years with Spire, growing so much, coming off of first ever triple top 10 from Watkins Glen. Justin, you've had some incredible runs with Rick Ware this year. Both of you putting up, amazing stats for the teams, personal best for the teams and yourself as drivers. What's the emotions to leave, like you'd mentioned, the family you've built within these teams so suddenly, and not have a whole offseason or something to reminisce or stuff like that, to move on so suddenly from these guys you've been an integral part of helping their program? How does it feel from you from a personal standpoint?
Hey, it's bittersweet for me, but I also am well aware that the garage moves and the sport moves at lightning speed. So any sort of like luncheon or nostalgia or parade they would have thrown as I walked out of the front door and they slammed it and locked it behind me will probably happen on Monday. So I don't think there's going to be a fiesta and a piñata out there celebrating the exits or the entrance rather, but there, like you said, there has been, it's bittersweet because you leave familiar faces, you leave familiar trucks and lounges and cars and switches, where they're at. So for the opportunity for me to just knock the new off and get into the system and the processes and Ford's way of doing things with the simulator is invaluable to me as we work to figure out what the future looks like. But you're going to miss those guys, but also you're going to rub shoulders, and now we're frenemies for the rest of the year and for years to come. But there's a lot of those bonds that you can't break because they're just your buddies. Jeff being one. So, that's we're frenemies, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have a lot of respect for Corey too, and we were teammates there for a while, and I feel like we worked well together. So, it's definitely an interesting situation, but it's obviously, you know, everyone knows how fast the garage moves, to Corey's point, and you spend the weeks and the hours with your guys, right? They're your second family. You hear it all the time. So definitely going to be tough to leave Chris Lawson and all those guys on the 51 car and the 15 car. But yeah, always looking forward to a new opportunity, and again, just seeing where it plays out.
Steven Stump, FrenchChurch.com. This is for Robby and Jeff. It's very rare that we have a straight driver swap, especially in the middle of the season. I think the last time it happened was 2003 with Steve Park and Jeff Green. But to that point, do you feel like kind of this transaction could set a precedent for more trades happening in the future, and in terms of getting prepared, having like a tune-up at the end of the year for teams to get prepared for the next season?
You want to take it?
How about you start?
Okay. To answer your question succinctly, yes. I think that this is a much different Cup Series than it has been. We operate quite a bit differently, and I think the Cup Series, as it relates or compares to the Xfinity garage and the truck garages, it's kind of become its own animal. I think that the weight, the gravity that exists here allows us to do some things differently. So, yeah, I think that you could see more of this. I think that it's tough with sponsors and manufacturer relationships and contracts and things of that sort. I think this was probably a bit simpler because of the relationships that we have here. Both Chevrolet and Ford applied a lot of grace here with allowing this to happen for us, because I think that again, as I said earlier, I think we're all winning here. We're doing something I think that's good for everyone, including the sport. So. Yeah, it can be complicated probably on the larger organizations, but yes, this could be something we see more. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think you spoke a little bit to it. I think this is unique in that there's prior relationships everywhere, right? And I think that there has to be a level of transparency. There has to be trust. And I know Robby and I had that, very early, through this. And the other part that I just don't want to gloss over here is Robby was unbelievable to work with on this, right? And I don't know that we thought we were going to be sitting in a press conference in Bristol, when we first spoke. But the way that Robby talked to me about Corey from the drop was. It was, I don't know you have a problem with me saying this. He was just like, I think I can get more out of him than you. Okay. And he said that as friends, right? And as competitors and colleagues. And, man, it just stuck with me. You know what I mean? It just, not in an ugly way, right? It just kind of stuck with me that it's just like, I think it's not lost on anybody here that I think you guys all remember I had some pretty conflicting emotions, going through it with Corey. And so, you hear that. And we're sitting here, and it's just like, man, it's like a relief in a way, because like Corey had said, it's just like the relationships don't end. I mean, it's kind of a cliche, but you guys all live it too. I mean, some of this is just racing. You know what I mean? Like, we've all worked for different teams, and I don't know that we switched it just like that, but it's some of this is just racing. It's all in us, and but those bonds are still real. So I know that played a big part of this, and so when we, kind of picked up the baton this week, it was just like, man, let's get this thing across the line, because I think it's unique in that respect.
Davey Siegel with SiriusXM NASCAR Radio for Corey. I know you've spoken in the past about, when your time at Spire was coming to an end, evaluating all the options that were on the table, whether that was trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. What made this specific opportunity, and with RWR Racing specifically, the right move for you right now?
Well, some of it was done, between Robby and Jeff getting all the real stuff ironed out to make it happen. But for me and my family, and I just continue to reiterate, it's like, this is the best for my career. And a lot of unknowns. It gives you a little bit of muddy water when you try to focus on becoming trying to maintain an elite level of preparation with where you're at currently, not knowing you're going back, kind of being in a lame duck situation with working towards not really an end goal necessarily to continue the production and continue the success that we've had with the 7 team. But now you get a kind of fresh start, fresh faces, new process to jump into. You feel as though the work you're going to do is going to progress to another level. And I'm excited about that. I had other opportunities and a couple people in different Xfinity Series and trucks. But I told Robby several weeks ago, I said, man, all my chips are pushed onto the table to drive a 51 because my guiding light, my entire racing career since I've been 8 years old is to be a Cup driver. It's not to be an Xfinity driver. It's not to be a truck driver. It's to make it to the Cup level and race against the very best. And it's freaking hard because these guys are the very best. But taking a step back and winning some races and then watching guys who I know that I can compete against each and every week go have fun and compete for wins on a Sunday didn't really sit right for me. So I wanted to stick it out for this opportunity towards the end of the year, however long that took. But, through grace extended from Ford and Chevy and Jeff in a lot of ways and Spire, they kind of helped me start this chapter much earlier than what I expected.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports, for Jeff and Robby. We've seen both of your organizations make a lot of moves here in the last couple years, and obviously there's been some progress, no doubt about that. But you're competing in an arena where 3 organizations have nearly 3/4 of the playoff teams tonight. So I'm curious how you view what the climb has been to this point and what you view as the challenges, even with all these moves that you made to get to this point, while the mountain is still, the finish line is still moving in a way.
It's a tough game, Dustin. We talk about it every week in our post-race debriefs. It's a tough game. It's a tough sport. We feel like it gets a little tougher every week. You have to get better every week. You have to get 1% better every week just to keep up. The Cup Series has become a very exclusive arena. And to your point, it's a steep mountain. I think that what Rick and Lisa Ware have provided Rick Ware Racing, and what Jeff and TJ have been able to build at Spire, it's just brick by brick. It takes time. We've probably exceeded our own expectations. I think if Justin and I and our team and even Rick and Lisa, if we're honest with ourselves, we've probably exceeded the expectations of what we thought we could do at this point in the time that we've had together. So we just have to keep pushing. You can't let up. You cannot get comfortable just participating. You have to show up to compete every week, and you have to know that you've got to motivate your people. You've got to invest more and more energy every week to continually get better and keep pushing.
Yeah, I think you could. I'm just thinking of Corey's answer. Like it's so hard, man. You know what I mean? Like you're walking and chewing gum. I mean, I know that. I know our 2 organizations have gotten a lot of scrutiny over the years, right? And I always took up for Rick, and I know they took up for us. I mean, it's just hard. You can't take on, like you just said, right? I mean, it's just like 3/4 of the field is, but that doesn't. I don't think that deters either one of us, right? Like you just got to just keep rocking. They're not waiting for you. You know what I mean? Like they're just not waiting for you to. So we got to almost go twice as hard, and you got to make unconventional moves. Like what we're, you know what I mean? Like we have to do things different than the, Speaking to his point, I don't know that Hendrick and Gibbs are going to have a, a trade coming up here anytime soon, right? But it's so you just got to push. You got to believe in what you believe in, and I don't know, man. It's just. I know for Spire, we've put expectations on us, going forward that I'm sure we can meet them, but they are a bit ambitious, But look, one of the best compliments I think we ever received was we had that triple top 10 last week, and it wasn't a headline, So like that kind of like validated, kind of like where we're at, and now maybe how you guys look at us, now too, but. When we were here in the spring, Justin and Kaz were kicking our ass. I mean, they were, in the top 10 all day, right? So, I mean, it's just like we can still do it. It just we have to hit everything right still to do it. But I know that we're pressing ahead, and we'll I hope we're in here tomorrow night with Corey celebrating the win.
Steven Toronto, CBS Sports. I'll pose two questions, one to Robby and one to Corey. Robby, you talked about, potentially preparing to have Corey in the 51 for next year. The other half of next year's plans is the 15 car, which has had multiple drivers in it this year. Do you anticipate that continuing next year, or would you prefer to have, one full-time driver in that car, whether it's Kaz, whether it's Cody, whether it's someone else?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I think where we're going to lean toward in 2025 is we want to make sure that we're elevating the organization as far as we can carry it, right? And that starts with the race car driver. That is the most important catalyst that any of us have with any of our race teams. So to have an opportunity to partner with a guy like Corey with the level of experience and general talent that he has on and off the track, we would be foolish not to do that. But we don't know what we don't know. So again, as I said earlier, we've got a very unique opportunity here to work together to see what we can put together on and off track. This is still a business. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work together. I've known Corey personally for 15 years. I've changed tires for Corey when he first started racing, right? We go way back, but we haven't worked together at this capacity or at this level. So we're going to take this opportunity to see what we can do together. Our future is not laid out quite as neatly as Justin and Spire, but this is largely a resulting effect of what's happened. So we don't have all of our ducks in a row yet, I'll be honest with you. This is less than a week old for us deciding that we were going to do this together between RWR and Spire. And we're going to see what we can do. Maybe we don't live up to Corey's expectations. Anything can happen. So we're going to take the opportunity to see what we can do together, understand what we can do for each other, and see where that takes us. As far as the other car, you'll see both of our cars at Daytona come February. We don't have the 15 figured out quite yet. Again, speaking to a point we made earlier, this is a tough business, and I think every time we think we know what we're going to do, some little thing changes. And this is not exactly a little thing, so the ripple effects from how this works out will have some residual effect on the 15 as well.
And then for Corey, the trajectory of Spire and Rick Ware's teams have both kind of followed each other over the past couple of years, especially since the next gen car was introduced a couple of years ago. Just from being on one end of the garage and then climbing toward the other end of the garage and then seeing, Rick Ware's team come along with you. What have you seen from that organization from afar, beyond simply, oh, wow, that car's faster than it used to be?
I mean, a lot of similarities, just size of team and effort and motivation, and the chip that all those guys wear on the shoulder to prove yourself. I think everybody, and there's still several people aspire to prove yourself and wears that chip on your shoulder. Because we all are just trying to carve our own spot to show that we belong. And Rick and Lisa have done that their entire career. And again, it's so hard to compete and get better and work your way up that row of trucks. I mean, that is a large exponential leap to try to get your truck closer to the front. And for me, just to see the progression of Spire with how they've grown and with the truck teams and the Kyle Busch shop, it helps me understand where to put my best effort to not get outgrown, right? I mean, to be more present in the shop, to be more assertive with my opinion that I probably gave some gap that a wedge got drove in to where I am currently. So learn some lessons inside the car and outside the car, just to be a bit more of a professional and to be more engaged. And I intend to use that knowledge for the foreseeable future, certainly for the last 7 races of the year and the years to come.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap it up quickly as there's someone behind us at 2 o'clock, but right over here in the corner, guys.
Zach Sterniello, NASCAR.com, to the way left. For Jeff and Justin, Justin specifically on your left. I'm curious how you feel like you've grown as a driver since leaving Spire Motorsports. Obviously, you had a couple of years with Colleague and now with Rick Ware Racing this year. How do you feel like you've grown? And Jeff, I'm curious on your perspective as well.
Yeah, it obviously, it's a large jump from the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series, but reiterating, I'm thankful that when I was racing in the Xfinity Series, Jeff and TJ at Spire gave me the opportunity to drive their 77 car. Granted, we weren't, putting the best cars out there, the best effort into it. I mean, we were definitely trying, and it kind of got it was a low pressure situation for me to get my feet underneath me, and I think that kind of is what propelled myself to be able to get the opportunity at college, right? And then I feel like at college I learned a lot from AJ. I think a lot of what I take from week to week was based off of what AJ does, and obviously he's been in the sport for a long time, right? So I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good people around me, but when you sit down at night and you're trying to plan your future and look ahead to what's going to be best for you and your family, I feel like Spire and Jeff and the 7 car with Rodney was a big part of that, right? I feel like Rodney was a big pushing factor towards all of it. So, I'm super thankful. I feel like I've grown as a driver. I've definitely, you go through ups and downs and phases where you feel like you've lost it and then you hit it. And it's just how hard this series is. So, I feel like being able to jump over to Spire with 7 races left, try to get in the system, listen to Carson and all my teammates over there, personnel-wise, and just get a head start is big for me in my career.
Yeah, the biggest difference that he's walking into is I think when he was here before, it was like we were just happy to get to the racetrack. It was a low pressure situation, and he's walking into a higher leverage spot here now. So that's probably the biggest.
All right, thank you, everyone. I know there's someone right behind us, so we appreciate your time. Thank you.
What's up? On which one? On what?
I think we're. You want to do something? Are you wanting to do
something? All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.